What's up everyone? Today is somewhat of a momentous occasion because I'm fitting the coilovers to the M3 and I've actually owned them for like 2 years. I just always had some excuse of why I couldn't do it because I was busy with my other cars or working in the Middle East or working at home or doing this, doing that. There was a time where I thought that I'd possibly might sell the M3 and get something else, and I don't know, I just came up with 1,000 excuses why not to do it, and in reality I was just being lazy. So I've got space on the lift right now and the E30's on the other side, and I've made an agreement with myself that until I fit the coilovers on the M3 that I couldn't move the E30 across the strip. So today's the day. What we've got is a set of Turner Motorsport rear top mounts, just because I thought the other ones might be a bit rough, so I might as well change them while I'm at it. And some Bilstein B16 coilovers. Watch me struggle. I like a good unboxing on YouTube, don't I? Obviously I've opened the box before, but springs, dampers, etc. It's quite difficult this. I don't know how people manage to unbox stuff on YouTube and make it look good, but yeah, should pull out the top, I think. Aaron's here. It's been a while since we've seen Aaron. He's made his own mask. Spring. And the dampers are adjustable. What I believe is the compression and rebound adjustment is paired, so they've basically got like a paired setting which works for each click essentially. So we'll get them on the car and we'll get the car aligned and then get it set up. At the moment the car is on IBAC and OEM dampers, which they're really tired and they just need refreshing. So when in doubt, upgrade, of course. It is my daily car, so it's not really that important that they need to be like super sort of refined dampers, that with all amount of adjustment, because in reality if something's adjustable people will mess it up. So yeah, we'll just get them set up nice and probably set and forget. These were supplied by Tom at the Motorworks, and if you're watching this, Tom, I'm finally doing it. It's about time. I'm quite embarrassed, to be honest, but we're gonna get the wheels off the car and start. This is the worst part of fitting suspension. Spring compressors.
What we want, Di.
Yeah.
Get the gun. And the extension bar. Rotate. Take the extension out. Quite shouldn't really do that, should I? Oh.
Setting up?
No. Not quite. Go for it. It's pretty quiet, Rod. No,
That's so.
Set the countdown with the spring taken off.
What was that?
Not saying anymore now.
You've not had a shower since Thursday?
Yeah. It's only Friday today.
It's Wednesday, my dude.
dude.
The reason we're taking the old struts apart is because the top mounts to go with these are just the OEM ones, so you don't get sort of adjustable top mounts with them. So the Club Sports you do, but I don't really see that I'd need them, to be honest, because it's a road car, and what I am going to do is remove these pins. Well, I already have. It means you can get a little bit more camber. I think you can get up to about 2 degrees ish, which is more than enough on a road car, really.
Camber gang.
Start going more, it gets a bit snatchy and starts grabbing into tram lining even worse than it already does. So we'll get this strut built up and we'll put that one on, and the back should be fairly simple. Right, it's obviously been quite a few hours because I've sort of been catching up with my friends and stuff and having a laugh, because it's been a long time since we've been able to do anything like this. But the wheels are back on the car, just on 2 bolts, and I'm ready to sort of start setting the height of the coilovers. So Clint's made me some nice alignment pads.
Calibrated by eyeball.
Because I don't think it's going to drop down low enough without the lift interfering, so we'll give them a go.
So you want them to stick out a bit, yeah?
Yeah. Tell me when you're like.
I'll tell you when.
When it's close.
Right on. Should we sound there? Yeah. See how that goes. This could be hilarious.
We've been messing around quite a lot and adjusted the height a couple of times. We've basically come to the conclusion that maximum low on the back and pretty much almost maximum low on the front is where it sits nicely. I'm pretty happy with how the car's looking now, and I will get some proper shots to finish the video off because the car needs a clean. Roads are pretty gross at the moment and it doesn't look too good. But I've cleaned the brakes down with brake cleaner and ACF coated everything, and I'm really happy with the quality. So we're going to go for 5, which is the middle setting on the dampers at the moment, and just sort of give it a try, and I'll let you know what I think. Right, I would say it's been around 2 or 3 weeks since we fitted the suspension to the M3, and I'd say I've done roughly around 700 miles, mostly because I wanted to make a fair assessment before I made any comments on them, and I think I've seen sort of every single weather condition because we live in the UK where the weather's great, but it's good for testing, so I think I've made a fair assessment because I've done both sort of B-road driving, motorway driving, and the daily commute, which I think is actually quite an important one, because there's no road you know better than the one that you drive down every single day, so it's good to sort of spot changes in your car by doing that. So what I'd like to start off with is the spring rates. I think the spring rates are very good, they're very well matched to the chassis, and mine's a full weight car, so I'm making that assessment on a full weight car, and I assume that's what Bilstein have engineered around, because typically that's the general consumer, whereas a full on track car, I suppose, really you want to be looking at the weight of your car to match the spring rates. I do feel they would be competent on track because they do offer a lot of support. However, I think they're probably a little bit more compliant than OEM, which is a good thing, because I think OEMs are generally very guilty of overspringing cars, especially cars that are seen as sort of sports or sports luxury or whatever you want to class it as. And it's really down to the consumer, just sort of general public seeing stiff suspension as sporty, which is not necessarily true. It can actually be a hindrance at times. Right, we'll move on to damping. Initially out of the box I set these to 5 and 5 just as a middle ground, because that was the middle setting, and I felt that they deal with big hits very well. So the high speed compression damping is good. It sort of takes the edge off the big hits, definitely. And low speed stuff, it deals with small undulations in the road and sort of allows you to keep that contact patch on the floor. So it's definitely doing its job in that aspect. However, that sort of 5 and 5 middle ground setting that I initially went with, I wasn't happy with, because basically the on-centre steering felt very dead. It's something that the E46 M3 steering rack doesn't really complement, because it is a little bit dead on centre anyway, if I'm honest. I believe the idea behind it being engineered that way was for sort of high speed stability, but the car already has more caster than the original 3 Series anyway, so it wouldn't really have been a problem. I digress. I made some settings changes, and I reduced the rebound in the rear and sort of stiffened the front end up a little bit, and it's sort of gone back to the same steering feel as it was before, if not marginally better. I mean, I do have 265s on the front, so it's definitely a little bit better than an OEM sort of setup, but I may look to change the rack at some point for something a little bit faster. So overall, I would say Bilstein have done an excellent job with these coilovers, and probably what I'd say is the perfect middle ground for someone who uses the car on a regular basis on the road, for sort of mixed driving and definitely fast road driving, and maybe the occasional track day. And I believe if you're looking for an out and out sort of track setup, the Club Sport would be much better suited to what you'd need. But I believe that for what I use the car for, this was the perfect choice, so I'm very happy with my decision. I hope you've enjoyed this video, because it's been quite a while since any content's been put out, and it was long overdue, because like I say, these things were sat in the box for a long time. I don't really have any excuse for that, but I did sort of lose a bit of motivation with everything, and I've got a lot to do between the 3 cars, so I'm looking to sort of step things up. I've got some new equipment and some new stuff in the garage, and there's a ton of parts coming for the other cars, so I'd like to push myself to try and stay consistent with both quality and quantity of uploads, so hopefully we'll see you again soon.